Venetian clay. Magnet-style Venetian clay is a single-layer textured acrylic paint which imitates worn plaster. The product is recommended for indoor walls and architectural items. The Venetian clay is an exceptional surface coating, a great and simple solution for people seeking a unique decorative effect. Application of the coating requires the following products and tools. Undercoat: an acrylic paint with quartz sand for proper substrate preparation. Venetian clay: a textured paint for the worn plaster effect. Coloring pigment: a concentrated pigment for coloring magnet-style products. A Venetian clay brush. A Venetian clay plastic float. Substrate preparation. Proper substrate preparation is a critical stage of work. The surface to be rendered with magnet-style Venetian clay should be solid, level, dry, and free of dust, adhesive residues, oil, grease, or grime. The substrate should also be smooth to produce a good decorative finish. Coat the new or previously primed surface with magnet-style undercoat. The paint contains fine-grained quartz sand. Its application guarantees the proper adhesion of decorative layers. It's best to apply the paint with a roller in 1 or 2 layers that must be uniform in texture and color. The recommended drying time is about 2 hours per layer. Product preparation. Depending on the selected color, add enough coloring pigment to the Venetian clay. Mix the ingredients by hand, being careful not to crush the white particles contained in the product. If you're going to color several containers of the Venetian clay with the same pigment, it's advisable to tint them together in one larger container to obtain a uniform color. The particles in the product may vary in size depending on production lots. In this case, stir the product vigorously to break up the bigger particles and obtain a more uniform grain size. Application. Apply magnet-style Venetian clay in 1 layer with the dedicated brush. Start with places that are difficult to reach. Take an optimum portion of the paint with the brush and spread it across the surface with gentle strokes in a criss-cross pattern. The Venetian clay is recommended to be applied in 1 thick layer. Do the spreading gently so as not to crush the white particles. Each time you have coated about 1 square meter, spread the paint with the semi-dry brush to level out possible streaks or smudges and obtain a shaded texture. When coating larger surfaces, remember to frequently stir the product in the container. After about 30 minutes, depending on the ambient temperature, use the dedicated plastic float to gently rub and crush the white particles. It is best to do the rubbing with the float in the same direction in which the decorative paint was applied. When starting to work with the plastic float, make sure the white particles do not stick to the tool. If they do, the coating is not dry enough, so give it a few more minutes to dry. The Venetian clay coat is properly dry for rubbing when the white particles are clearly visible while working with the float. When decorating larger surfaces, apply a Venetian clay layer on each consecutive plane in the same manner as instructed before. It's advisable to apply the Venetian clay on one entire plane without prolonged pauses at work. This will produce a uniform decorative surface without visible joints between the passes. Leave the finished decorative layer for about 2 hours to dry. The paint develops full strength with resistance to soiling in 28 days from its application. If the product is to be applied on surfaces extremely exposed to soiling, preserve it with magnet-style rustic top coat sealer.